say, fun fact, that one potato has half your daily vitamin C in it.
Yeah, potatoes! All right!
All right, I'm a junior. I have majors in business administration and marketing and a minor in communication. Here's my story. For me, my walk with the Lord starts off pretty young. I was raised going to church consistently and I would take classes to learn more about my faith on Wednesday nights. Nothing about this was extraordinary or outside of the norm. But in the summer after third grade, my parents got a divorce, and this is where things start to go south for me with my perception of faith. To say the least, divorce wasn't easy for anyone in my family. I was 9 and my sister was 5, and there was a lot of hostility. I've learned a lot more in recent years about what went on during this time between my mom and my dad, and to say the least, ugly is an understatement, and what I have been seeing was only the tip of the iceberg. It was also during this time that I stopped attending religion classes. Up to this point, it was a pretty normal divorce. It sucked and it was hard, but we all made it through. Fast forward a year from that, and my dad buys a house. This is when things start to go even further south. This was the first time since the divorce that my dad had a place that was his own, and no one could just pop in and see what's going on. We were previously living with his parents for a while, so we were always with someone else. It's at this point my dad becomes verbally abusive towards me. What started as smaller hurtful comments became things that were much, much more. It was, I'll never be smart enough, good enough, and at times skinny enough. I'd spend hours cleaning the house and then be yelled at for not doing enough or more. The abuse grew over time and became something that started to consume me. The funny thing about verbal abuse is it's invisible, so the bruises and cuts I felt were never visible to anybody outside of myself. The way it worked was my sister and I would go to my dad's house every other weekend, one late night a week, where we had dinner at my mom's house, and he'd pick us up from school every day. Every other weekend with my dad, we went to church, and there we were the perfect family. But as soon as we were in the parking lot, usually before it was made clear how I had made a mistake, I had embarrassed him, I had failed him. It really seemed like the mind games would never end. I started to become really distant with my faith, and I had made this false connection that if this is what a relationship with God is like, I don't want it. This continued to be my life for the next 6 years. I refused to allow my mom to help, because even though I felt like I was drowning, I was much more afraid of the fallout that would come from confrontation, so instead I took the burden on myself. One of the things that I'm most grateful for during this time, though, is my sister was pretty much untouched by the verbal abuse. At the same time, it was really difficult for me because I was being pinpointed and I was the scapegoat, and she was being left alone, but still super grateful that she didn't feel the way that I was feeling. Looking back at it, I'm not ashamed of what happened, and I don't blame God. I know that what I went through was all for a reason much, much bigger than myself, and I know that He never left me during this time. It was also during this time that I was just really seeking out someone to recognize how miserable I was, and while I was missing God's life rafts left and right on Him helping me out, He threw me a life raft so big my freshman year of high school that I couldn't miss it. There's this event called Challenge Day, and there, for the first time, I opened up to someone outside of a close friend group and family about what was going on, and I was recommended to join a group of girls at my school who all suffered from domestic abuse. For the first time, I was able to stand on more solid ground, but at the same time, it was also the first time someone had labeled as abuse. Previously, I was like, nah, it's fine. What I'm going through really is not abuse. It can't be. And then once I kind of finally figured out what I was going through was something much more than just the average conflict with your parents, I decided it was time to start fighting. That being said, I was still miles out in an ocean of uncharted water. For the remainder of high school, I buried myself in work and clubs and stayed busy chipping away at the walls my dad had forced me to put up. But still, nothing really changed. I was hiding away on the weekends, taking whatever my dad flung at me next. Nonetheless, I finished high school putting on the appearance that all was well and good, bubbly Lydia, ready to take on the world alone. Coming to college, I finally had the control of my life that I had been craving for so long. During my freshman year of college, I found myself again. I learned what it's like to live without my dad breathing down my neck, and I did things simply because they made me happy instead of doing it to avoid being at home with my dad. The sophomore year of college, I found God. Freshman year, I went to crew twice. I was like, this is whack. They're saying things that relate way too closely to me. I need to go. So, I was like, yikes. So sophomore year fall, I studied abroad in Hungary with 3 of my best friends. And while abroad, I really found God in unexpected places. Whether it be getting places safely or quiet times on planes, trains, and buses. And while I wasn't quite in the Word as much as I wanted to be, I was falling in love with freedom, knowing that God had my back all the time. Spring semester of sophomore year, I was in it for the long haul. Not only did I connect with the Bible study and come to crew on a regular basis, I sought out a therapist. I was so unsure about going in and talking to someone about what I was experiencing, but my anxiety that I was already managing with medication was back in control of my life more than I'd like to admit. God's next life quote for me was a woman named Stacy. She helped me break down the sky-high walls that were a mile thick. I actually learned to manage my anxiety instead of ignore it. It was a wild concept before getting there. I'm still, at this point, in over my head in an ocean, but I can see shore. God kept sending me these life rafts. He sent it through His Word, through peers, through therapy, new friendships, and so much more. I know that I'm not alone in the struggles I'm facing and what I went through. I also know that I do not need to carry this burden alone. I can rejoice in community and live in the sunshine of God's love. I no longer am stranded in the middle of that choppy ocean. I'm now sitting on the beach soaking up in the sun. In the past few years, I've had this verse in my wall in my room, and I've used it kind of as like a battle cry when I'm facing hard times. It's Proverbs 31:25. She is clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future. If anything resonates with you, I'll be in the back. If you want to start a trivia team, I will also be in the back. Thanks, guys.